Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to create a random code generator using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. As you can see here, we have this code and you can generate a new random code by clicking on the Get New Code button. These codes are coming from an API, so when we click on the new code button, we are sending a request to a third-party API which is returning a random code. This is the API where we are sending the requests. So if we refresh, we're gonna get a new code, and these codes are random. In this project, you will learn how to fetch data asynchronously using the Fetch API. You will also learn about DOM manipulation. You can find the finished source code on my GitHub account. I will put the link in the description section below. If you guys are interested in more coding projects like this, then be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So here I am in VS Code editor. Feel free to use any code editor you want. Here I have the image folder where I have the background image. You can get this image from my GitHub repository from the description section below. So in here I am going to create 3 files. The first one is going to be the HTML file. I will name it index.html. And the second one is for styles, which is going to be style.css, and finally we are going to have the script.js for the JavaScript code. Now let's open the HTML file and start writing some code. So here I am generating a boilerplate code using Emmet. If you are in VS Code, you can do the same. And here inside the head section, I want to link the style.css. And in the body section, I will link my JavaScript file. Now I want to create a container. I'll create a div and give it a class name of container. Inside here, I want to create a paragraph for the code. I will give it a class of code and an ID of code. For now, I am going to hard code a quote by Albert Einstein. Below the paragraph, I want to put the author of the code. I will put it in a italic, and I will use a H for HTML tag. I'm gonna give it the ID of author. Finally, I want to have a button for generating the new code. Now I want to open this HTML file in the browser. I am using the live server extension, and if you are using VS Code, you are going to come over here on extensions, and then you will type in live server and then select this first one that appears here. Then you can install it. So if I open this in the browser, I am going to see this. So now what I want to do is to style this website, I am going to open the style.css and start writing some code. So the first thing I want to style is the body. I want to give it a background image, so I will use that image I showed you in the beginning of the video. I'm going to link to it. I'm going to change the font family. I am going to give it a height of 100 view height, which is kind of like 100% of your screen size. I want to use flexbox so that I can put everything in the center. Now I want to style the container. I will give it a maximum width of 500 pixels. I want to give the background a white color, and I want to set the border radius to 10 pixels, and then do the padding. For the quote, I will give it a font size of 18 pixels. Now I want to style the button. I will give it a dark color. Now that everything is looking fine, let's go to our script.js file and write some code. Here I want to make sure that the code runs when the content has loaded. So the way I'm going to do this is by adding an event listener to the document, which is DOM content loaded event. Now the first thing I want to do is to grab the elements from the document. I will get them by their IDs. So I need to get the button and the content and the author. So now we need to add an event to the button, so when we click on it, we're gonna get a new code. We are going to pass in the fetch code function as the callback. We will create that in a second. So here I am going to create the fetch code function. So inside this function, we need to make a HTTP request to the API using the fetch API. The fetch function returns a promise, and a promise is basically a way of handling asynchronous events in JavaScript. So when the event is over, we need to do .then method to handle this response. Here we'll pass in a function which will take the response as an argument. This response is basically a stream of data. We need to read the data in a format we can work with. In this case, we'll learn response.json. This will also return a promise. We will use the .then method again. This time the function will take data as the argument. So with this data, we can do anything we want. We can change the content of the website. First, I want to print this data so that we can see what we are getting. So if I go back in the browser and inspect the page and come to the console and generate a new code, I'm going to see this data. So this is the data we are getting from the API. So with this data, we can change the content of the page. Now let's go back in the browser and see if this is working. And it is working as expected. We are getting new codes. So what I want to do now is to change the text of the button when I'm sending a request. I also want to disable the button. Here, after I have finished fetching the data and after updating the content, I want to enable the button again and change the text as well. So the last thing I want to do is to start the button when it is disabled so that I can give it a different color. Alright, this is working. Alright guys, this is the end of the project. If you have any questions, please let me know in the description section below. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, then be sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.